Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Open Mic Comedy Podcast. I'm your host, Marc. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. The podcast is here for people on the open mic comedy circuit, whether you're a comedian, an MC, a promoter, a tutor, in fact, anybody who has any involvement in this industry. Even comedy fans who really do enjoy spending their times in pub basements watching the possible stars of the future. But even better, if you want to get onto the open mic comedy circuit, you'll hear firsthand some of the stories from those that are involved. So this podcast could be quite informative for you. Today's guest is someone that's helped me a lot since I began in comedy. He's a regular on the London comedy scene. He's been MCing all over. He's performed at many of the hottest comedy clubs around. He's an Edinburgh Fringe regular. He runs his own night in Bermondsey every month with many famous TV comedians. He's also the 2019 Roast Battle UK champion. And he's a comedy tutor teaching the art and craft to many people and helping them shape their first fives and tens. So please welcome to the stage, Mr. Ben Clover.
Hey. Oh, thanks, guys. That's too kind of you. Too kind of you.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I've got all of my anger from this morning out in the pre-record, so I'm a ray of sunshine now. So this is not. I should explain. This is not a daily anger avoiding process I have to go through. I just got absolutely walloped. Online chess, a new addiction I'm developing, which is highly frustrating. Like I would have come to this podcast kind of just full of joy had I managed to not get completely fucking destroyed by guest 9721704 on chess.com. Just if I ever meet that guy. Anyway, or gal, who knows? But anyway, yes. Hello, nice to be here.
Chess, the new addiction for the modern man.
Oh, I've just got to put it behind me. Got to move on.
Hopefully, this will cheer you up. So let's start with an obvious one then. So, how long have you been in stand-up, and how and why did you begin the journey?
So I was thinking about this, and I'm not sure. I think it's about 12 years. I think, but more years ago than that, I dipped a toe after having first done it at university. I first did it at university. Yeah, when I was at York, and a guy I knew ran like a pro night, but with local middle spots. And this makes you sound like a real POS, but I was thinking about like probably the reason I did it was out of spite, in that someone else was doing it, and they were swinging their balls around, going like, "Oh yeah, I do stand-up comedy now. I'm a stand-up comedian." Rah rah rah. Oh, by the way, did I mention? It's like yes, you've mentioned it many times. But I looked at them and I kind of felt like, you're doing stand-up comedy. Fucking all right. Turns out the barrier to entry is considerably lower than I thought. So from that entirely ignoble beginning,
and that person turned out to be
Miley Cyrus, who has now gone on to achieve fame in a range, but has a tight five that was slaying up and down the open mic. So no, they're not still going. But
no, that's good.
So
beat
really,
it into submission.
They won, yeah. But no, sometimes so it's not always a noble impulse that first gets you up there. But about 12 years, I think.
So it's just a case of I've seen somebody else do it. I think I can give that a go, and I think I'm better than them. And subsequently,
well, yeah, that really did. Yeah, because people talk about sort of like it's the importance of seeing people do it. And thinking like, people like me can do it, like across loads of different things. But it really made me think, Jesus Christ, if they can do it, then yes, it is well within reach. And that was up in York, and it was really I think I've seen it since teaching. I've seen it a lot. We see people's first gigs, and it must be. I know it must be like being a drug dealer, where you give people their first like drugs and you see their eyes roll back and they're like, yes, this is what I want to do. And then and there's lots of parallels actually, like the indignity,
Yeah.
the destruction of other parts of your life, the kind of the weird substitutes you try and anyway. Yeah, no, it's it was like a sort of out of body experience. The first one it was loads of fun.
It's actually quite interesting thinking. I was thinking about this earlier, that you are generally a lot of people's first insight into comedy, but you're actually probably, bizarrely, the reason this podcast actually exists.
I can't take all the blame, Mark.
Well, because if I didn't meet you and do the course, I would never have become a comic or attempted to become a comic, and would never have tried to create this.
Well,
so I can put the firm blame on this on you.
Well, when all the sponsorship money comes rolling in, Mark, then there'll be a moment in like Paris in 20 years' time where we look back and go, this is not because we're a couple at that point, but just in terms of like we've become millionaires and we can we can look back, because comedy is, if I can tell you one thing I've learned, it is chock full of millionaires, kind of just. And to be clear, these aren't people who've made money from comedy. These are people who are already millionaires, and have nothing better.
I think I'm a bit of a long way from selling ball shavers at the moment, and green supplementary drinks and stuff like that. So I think
is that
we're
the
safe
sort
for a
of
bit.
merch that people are doing now?
Yeah,
or not merch, but sort of the advertising deals. Yeah.
So in the tutoring side, how did that come about? How long have you been doing it? And again, how did you decide to give it a go?
So tutoring, I've been running full courses with City Academy for about a year. Like a year earlier this month, anniversary, and I did it because another comic, I don't know why, I guess it's nice of them, said, well, no, it was nice of them, email me to go, they offered me this, but I can't do it. Yeah, you should do it, but make sure to ask them for more money.
Yeah.
So I did, and they said no more money, but you can teach this. I've done sort of filling in for other people who've run courses and stuff, and it really felt like a milestone in my career is doing teaching. But you got to diversify, and also, it genuinely is really fun. Kind of, I think I did about 7 or 8 like courses last year, and I got another like 4 or 5 books this year, and I maybe some people are like snooty about it and stuff, but if you genuinely like comedy, putting it together, working with people on stuff, it's just a laugh. It's just a laugh. It's really fun. It's like it's satisfying, like helping people, get better and stuff. But generally, like each session, I do laugh a lot. Like people are funny. Like of all of those courses last year, I can't think of anyone who literally had nothing. Who was just like, they weren't fun to hang out with. It's really interesting to see people's ideas, and funny. Like I laughed a lot. I think, did we do 1 or 2? I can't remember. Like a bunch of people that did improvers courses as well.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
No, we did just the beginners course for me.
Gotcha.
I then went and just kind of thought, I'm just going to go out and just do stuff. On the stage and see how that goes.
Yeah.
Time could be, as a lot of open micers will realise, time can be limited if you've got families and stuff like that, and going, okay, I'm going to go 1 day out for a course, 1 day out for a gig per week. You kind of end up, you're not the favourite in the household sometimes. So it's kind of
I find if they still know who you are, that's great. What you're doing well. You're doing well.
Don't treat you with disdain when you come back in.
Yeah. And there's a bit where, like, they're proud of you. And you've got to establish what the alternative would be. You kind of, when you are at home, you need to like mope sigh, like whatever your sort of disruptive behaviour is, kind of, and then they'll be like, "Why don't you?" And then they'll start booking gigs for you. They'll be like, "Hey, what, like there's this new place down the road. When you go there, hang around afterwards, have a drink, kind of get to know people. Start your own night, go on tour." I love that at the moment. You see people going like, "Oh, I'm on tour," and you look at the dates. Like, let me be clear. This is significantly jealousy on my part. You go like, you look at the dates and it's kind of like, this seems like you've actually got 10 gigs booked across the country, spaced over 4 months. And like, that's not really a tour as people would understand anyway. Quibble, jealous. But yeah. No, because girls is a super fun kind of, and we've had all sorts of, all sorts of unusual stuff has happened.
So
like we had a Hollywood actress on one of them. I didn't recognize him, but someone else, of course, recognized him, and like lost her shit. Kind of like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it's you."
Seriously?
That was like, yeah. I had no idea, and she was really funny and stuff, but yeah, she's quite famous, and I guess maybe it would have been difficult because one of the other people on the course was like had worked as a showbiz journalist. And it's like, okay, well, if some of these exercises, it's going to be like, tell us about a fit. You're like, oh, that's you're basically just giving a load of stories direct to the. I'm sure she wouldn't have traded them up, but anyway. But yeah, no, all sorts of interesting stuff.
So what's that great? Do you have like a greatest satisfaction as part of the course? Is it just that moment when you see the person step up at the showcase and just hit it, and you go, "Yeah, that's probably my boy, that's my girl."
Yeah, it's that a bit, but I think it's there's just this special moment, when, and I'm going to try not to be pretentious about it, but
be as pretentious as you want.
But it's when the money appears in your account. When the money from City Academy appears in your account, you're like, I wouldn't have had that money if I hadn't done this work, and that money I'm gonna take it out of the cash point. I'm gonna throw it in the air, and that's probably the most powerful moment. Really, that's nice, but no, it's really fun. It's really fun watching people's eyes roll back in their head at the showcase when they've had a really good time, and like the showcase gigs are nice. They're always like a joy. Like I say, I must have brought about 100 odd people onto different stages for showcases last year, and only one of them kind of like completely froze.
Right.
And like, obviously some people do better than others, but kind of like, but still the average or the median or the mode, I don't know what the mode is. No one knows what the mode is, but like still the average is very, very high.
Yeah.
And lots of people like never do it again, but they really enjoy that. Like almost everyone really enjoys it. And when you're comparing and when you're teaching, you can't help but feel quite proud of people, especially if they were really shy when they first came in, and kind of those are maybe the ones you feel most pleased with, the people that kind of, because I always think that there's a couple of different spectrums in comedy, and I think one of them is sort of like writery types with no performance chops, and the other one is like performery types with lesser writing chops. And it's the writery types, because everyone's got a different mind, obviously, and different takes on stuff and different kinds of things they're interested in talking about. And it's when you can get someone a bit weird across the line, someone who has done stuff you never would have thought of across the line. That's really fun.
That's cool.
Or even if it's like someone who was palpably the worst person on the course, but like absolutely smashes it at the gig. It's all gravy, man.
Is there any standout moments from some strange things happening in the classroom rather than on the stage?
There was one. I'm trying to think how I can say this without compromising
identifying them.
without identifying because she. Oh well, that's the start. There you go. And you'll guess who
50%.
we're already. We're already. It was like a kind of a weird moment because she's like, all right, here are two things I'm going to talk about, and she talked about them at length,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them was a very distinctive thing about her unusual skincare regimen, where as soon as you heard it, you're like, my goodness, what an interesting like balls involved skincare regimen. I'm twisting myself up to try not to direct the skincare regimen that must be. And she talked about that, and that was dead interesting, if perhaps a little loose. And then she wanted to talk about, and this is again, here are more clues if anyone is tracking this down. She was an older Caucasian lady, and she went, and now here are my thoughts on race.
Oh no.
And they weren't like illiberal thoughts, but kind of everyone sort of clenched up way more than they did on the balls-based skincare stuff. And she was like, what do you think I should focus on? I was like, the skincare stuff, man, not the kind of that's that was awkward. That was a chat I hadn't expected, because you kind of think, well, that's plenty. You can do a whole Edinburgh show on this.
Yeah.
We don't also need this I'm going to turn myself inside out with awkwardness coda. But yeah, sorry, that doesn't happen often. In fact, that only happened once. Sometimes timing goes wrong. Sometimes people, they overrun on their on their homework bits, and then you're going to get like chucked out by the venue staff, and if you haven't got through everyone, then that's dispiriting. But no, like mainly it's super fun. It's fun when like acts' mums travel down from other parts of the country to the showcase to watch them, and then heckle them. Like, that's funny. There's loads that's funny. Yeah. No, someone told me they'd done other courses, and that other courses were a little bit more theory based. But this one was like more fun. So I do, it should be fun. It's like you're doing a comedy course. It's not, you're not learning how to do bowel surgery or so. Well, maybe that's funny as well. I don't know. It sounds funny. The bowel's probably the funniest internal organ.
Yeah, I guess it's more your introduction to comedy, isn't it? It's your learning to understand what you're doing and how it's conveyed without too much technical detail. Because I think the one thing, especially from our course, there was, I think a few people had the question, was as simple as, what do you do with a microphone, and what do you do with a stand, and it's those simple things that they don't mean that much, but there is enough of a distraction that they can take your mind and your brain away from what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I've been told about courses, like longer courses, like 16-week courses, where there's a whole session on taking the mic out of the stand, and I get that could trip over like some people, I guess, and some people have technique with holding the microphone such that you can't really hear it.
Yeah,
obviously that's bad. But when I heard about, like, of course, where they've spent a whole week on taking the microphone out of the stand and moving the stand to one side, it's like, you motherfuckers that's just filler. Like, what on earth are you, like, how dare you, Jesus Christ. I mean, look, I'll save you the time if you're doing a course of that. You can skip that week, right? Hold the microphone close to your mouth. It's like, someone told me once, like you're holding a lollipop. Because don't get me wrong, it is frustrating when you someone's got really great stuff and they're a bit fucking inaudible.
Yeah.
But that's really it. Just hold it close to your mouth and you're laughing.
And it just comes with practice as well.
And it's been a while since I've been really at the open mic scene much, but I don't remember seeing people thinking like, oh, I've seen this guy be good before. Oh, and no, sadly, he has impaled himself on the mic stand and he perforated his small intestine, and that's really going to count against him for his like set piece that he does at the end. You know, or in fact, oh dear, at this open mic night, 3 people have impaled themselves on the mic stand, and now the compere is spinning them all around like a sort of bloody Catherine wheel, spraying blood on the audience, which is already a challenging night out for people. You know, especially for your bringer. Anyway, yeah. Mostly that's not an issue, but and you pick it up. But no, I think for a lot of people, it's just like it's a nice social thing. Kind of, you do weirdly in comedy, you end up sort of getting to know people bizarrely well because you've got this weird thing in common that you're doing. 2, it's quite an intense kind of shared experience, and you've all known the dizzying heights and savage lows of a thing. And C, it's like I guess doing a good thing about doing a course is you have a deadline, you know. And there's an easy bit of homework each week, and rather than just going like, I mean, I've heard people say before, kind of like, "Oh yeah, no, I've got really into comedy. Like, I've got a gig booked in 2 months' time and another one in 11 months' time." And you're like, "That's not momentum, pig." I don't say that, but I mean, it's just but like, you know, having it in the diary each week, I think I've been told helps some people. It would have helped me when I was starting.
I think the having that deadline of the showcase and stuff like that, and you've got that something to work to. It just brings something else out in people, I think.
Yeah, panic. Yeah. The great motivator.
Yeah.
You know, and like I say, it works so well. I've only ever seen one person kind of freeze up. And even we got them back on at the end because the crowd, they are very supportive.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he did then freeze up again, but but he did get a joke out beforehand, and like, good. You know, I think he did still get a bunch from the course. You know.
So from experience, and you can't put numbers on it and stuff, but roughly what proportion of people that do the courses kind of go on to actually continue?
I don't know, because I've only had like oversight of a cohort of students. That's right. I said cohort for a year, so I don't know, and I didn't realize before. Like, quite a lot of people do courses just because they like to do courses.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, at the break of one that I was covering for someone else, hearing some of the people say like, "Oh, what are you going to do after this?" Because I really enjoyed that battle rap course we did, but I think maybe next I'll do advanced battle rap. I don't know. There's not only like an advanced battle rap course, but like, all right, some people just like doing courses, and that's fine. Some people it's just like, well, I've just retired and I need a new challenge. And some people are like, my partner bought this for me to get me out of the house, or my friends brought this for me because it's like you know, I've always been sort of interested in it. So I don't know. I literally don't know. I think there's like less than there used to be, but still fucking tons of courses.
Yeah.
In London alone.
Oh yes, there's a lot.
And I would be people still going after, people still gigging regularly after, say, a year. I don't know, 5%. I don't know. I don't know.
That's probably a fair number.
Yeah, and there's lots that fucking should be. Like, I can think of loads of people who are great that I've taught and had like really good material, really good presence, all of this, who kind of think, oh, well, hopefully I'll see them out there.
Yeah.
I haven't yet. But then I was talking to someone yesterday who did another course 12 years ago, and there were some, like, you know, reasonably famous, like, alumni on that, you know. But yeah, broadly, there's no substitute for going out there and doing tons of gigs.
No, I completely agree. I think the course is just it's the gateway drug.
It is.
It's the marijuana before you hit the heroin.
I'm sure there's a couple of drugs in between marijuana and heroin. When I was an actor, an act started about the same time as me. She talked about going on holiday to Morocco, and people like approaching her in the street, kind of going, "Hash, hash." She's like, "No." Like, hash, hash. She's like, "No, thank you." And she's like, "Opium." It's like, I think the person who's turned down hash will also turn down opium. It's
Yeah,
like,
probably.
well, now we're talking, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, one of the things I always try and make clear is like that the showcase gig at the end is there's probably no greater distance in fun and supportiveness of gig than the distance between showcase gig and people's first gig then on the open mic circuit.
Yeah.
It's like a profound, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, I don't know if like when you train to be a pilot or something, you have a sort of air show at the end and everyone's like, hooray, and they all like salute and they fire a little cannon or something. But then your first actual deployment is just you being kicked in the balls for like half an hour by like a big man with tattoos like behind a garage or something. It's like so I always try and encourage people not to be too disheartened by their first foray out. And I'm sure there's maybe it's much nicer than when I started. And it wasn't that it was like the open mic when I started was actively grim. It was just that like often I think there were fewer bringers, and so there were less people in the rooms, and you do some like comically sparse rooms where it's just like three guys with personality disorders and a kind of and a couple where something really weird was, and those were just and like in the audience, or it really is a kind of heroic feat of willpower to push past that, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
But those that is kind of funny. It's kind of funny how shit after those gigs, but yeah, man. I remember once some gig in a pub in I always get the Caledonian Road and the other one that's a road in North London confused. Holloway Road, that's it. I think it was on the Holloway Road, and there's this pub, and they made like a big effort with like a big banner that like hung on the back, and there was some West Country guy there with this like creepy energy, and he had this whole sort of like sex act outfit where he was really getting into it with his like very very physical, and again in front of like 2.5 people, but he managed to, with the force of his sex act out, to dislodge the banner, which then fell on him, fetching him a fair crack across the noggin, which was undeniably funny. So, and it's terrible when something's funny for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Like I was at a gig, again, it's about 9 years ago with my mate, and there was another guy on, and he's really really nice guy, really like nice guy, good act. But my mate leaned over to me and went, "Have you noticed that each time he does a punchline, he sort of raises one hand like that?" And I don't think he'd realised he was doing it. It was like this involuntary tip. But then as soon as it pointed out to me, I was like, "Oh yeah!" And then we were like waiting for it, and we laughed every time it came up, even if people. And then sort of the laughter kind of spread from that. So this guy's suddenly having the gig of his life, but doesn't really know why. It's fun. It's fun. Those are. I now look back on those days warmly.
Good. So, you're I said you earlier you were a Fringe regular. So you've done a few now, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I've done every year except 2020 since 2014.
Okay.
I think. I should be able to work this out. Yeah, I think it's 2014. And I think maybe I did a guesty. Maybe it was 2015. I don't know, Mark, I'm sorry, but it's definitely been. And there's been a lot written and said about how expensive like the Fringe is now unaffordable and how negative that is for like the arts generally in the UK. And all I can say is like I cannot recommend enough if you want to do Edinburgh. I cannot recommend enough having a long-term relationship and 2 children with someone who has family in Edinburgh that you can stay with for free. Kind of, people go like, "Oh, that must be nice staying for free." It's like, no, I've paid a terrible price. I've paid way more. Like, oh, you paid £1,000, did you? I've got 2 children with this woman. But yeah, I've done a bunch of that. And like, in all seriousness, like, yeah, it is, I think, increasingly shit. In terms of just the sheer cost and how shit that is, and that's one of the great things about comedy, right? Is that you really, it's I guess it must be like porn. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from or anything. Just if you can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
You know. So you do see like super funny posh people and super funny like not posh people and super funny people from all around the world and every different conceivable. That's one of the things I love about the course. It's kind of like there's hardly anyone who's got like nothing.
Yeah.
You know, who doesn't have an interesting take on something. Like I remember one of the first ones I covered for someone. It was like and I don't know if I'd had any thoughts about this demographic before in my life ever, but it was a lady in like her mid-60s, like quite posh Bolivian lady,
right,
with just like what turned out to be the darkest sense of humor I've ever encountered in my life. And it was like, it was such a pleasure doing the exercises with her because you kind of like, I wonder what she's going to do. This time, it was unbelievable. And you know, it's a real shame. It's a real shame that kind of the increasing like poshification of like the arts means you just don't, you just miss out on all that good stuff, you know. Just because, yeah. Anyway, it's been well discussed elsewhere. But yeah, no, Edinburgh. If you can do it through some way, it's super fun. It's kind of. I think my record was like, and this is my record. This is not, people have smashed this record.
Yeah.
Outside of me, 111 gigs over the month, and that's only like
in 1 month.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly late. It was like 3 weeks or something, but that's only like 3 or 4 a day, and you can actually do way more.
It's only 3 or 4 a day.
But like Carl Oaksey, I think he'd done like double that. But I was like destroyed after that. It was kind of like, because one of the things that happens in Edinburgh is you see lots of people that you know, or like know well, know a bit, know just to like nod to, right? And by the end of it, you often see them on the other side of the road. So you've always got to be like, is this across the road to chat to this person situation, or a wave situation, or like just a nod, or even just fucking they've ignored me before I ignored. Anyway, by the end of it, people who were just on the nodding terms would cross the road to tell me I look like shit. Kind of that's how far I pushed the boat out that year. But the point is, you can do millions of gigs and improve a lot, and do really weird gigs in like a lift shaft, or like an upside down gig in a building MC Escher like designed, you know. Yeah, and it's sort of a mythic space in a way, because like I've had more different fun weird gigs in Edinburgh than I can even like remember.
Yeah,
most of people go like, oh, you remember that one where it was just, you were just doing the pointing and shrieking thing. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'd forgotten that. Yeah. Yeah. But you know, Edinburgh, yeah, if you can, you should go. Even just for a weekend.
Yeah.
And there might be other people you know from the circuit who are running bill shows. There's loads of compilation shows and they can get you on. But there's a great guy from the West Midlands called Masai Graham, who runs sort of open access ones. So I think you can sign up on the day.
Yeah.
And he has loads of, and there's probably loads more, but that's just one that I know about.
Okay, cool. That's a good one for anybody who's budding and thinking they're going to want to give it a go, just to chuck up, but rather than do their own show, they can jump on, have a watch around, and then find some spots. So
you can see some amazing stuff. You can jump on some spots. it's a real toe dippy. Yeah, you can just do it like on a weekend rather than spending 15 grand on accommodation or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
horrific amounts of money. So has I don't know if Edinburgh is part of this, but two typical questions are: so what's the best moment you've ever had on a stage?
There was one. I won a small competition once and was handed a massive check, like I'd cycled up Kilimanjaro or something. That was fun. It was like, it was a competition in Colchester, and I was named Colchester Comedian of the Year, which was a big moment.
Yeah,
And I was, I sat down afterwards with, sorry, if I'm looking out the window sometimes, it's just because there's a load of scaffolding and like you might have a scaffolder on your podcast as well. But anyway, and I sat there afterwards with my giant check next to one of the other acts who's really good.
Yeah.
And this lady came up to him, and went like, "I just want to say, I think the wrong man won." And it's like, I'm sat with the giant check, and she hadn't seen me.
Yeah.
Somehow she just thought, oh, there just must be a giant check there. I'll ignore that. And I was like, hi, and she went, oh, I stand by it, and ran away. But yeah, no, I don't know. Best moment on stage. There's so many. It's kind of this is what I mean about the mythic thing of it in a way, because there's lots of it that I just can't remember.
Yeah.
Like there's been bits I've really enjoyed, like every week really. Probably if you don't have bits you enjoy each week, then stop doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And there was a bit, yeah. No, there's been loads. There was a history gig I really enjoyed. It was about he was supposed to talk about history. And I did, yeah. And like there was a bit. There's a thing called like the Whig interpretation of history, like Whig with an H, where it's a very optimistic view of history, but basically everything's getting better.
Yeah.
Everything is progressing to a point where it's just getting better and better. And it's like profoundly naive as that is. It is a sort of hopeful vision. I remember managing to convey this to like a quite drunk midday audience in a room above a pub, kind of just with crowd surfing, and then they did drop me, sort of symbolising the fact that it didn't, that it doesn't make sense and things actually can go backwards and get worse. Anyway, there's loads of fun to be had, and especially when you do if you do go to Edinburgh and do like 1,000 gigs up there, it doesn't matter how any individual one goes, so you can do exactly what you want. Kind of. It's really fun when someone stops you in the street and goes like, "Oh, I've been doing your Indiana Jones joke to my friends in the pub. They don't like it, but I love it." And it's like, that's, well, there you go. We're winnowing down the audience. Yeah.
But I guess
I've been hit in the head with shoes, all sorts of stuff.
I've seen that clip.
Yeah. That was when my first kid was on the way. I mean, not in being born, but like gestating.
Yeah.
And the idea was for the end of the show, I would sing "I Will Always Love You," and the first person who could hit me with a thrown shoe would get to name the unborn child. And people got on board with there wasn't really any kind of preamble for it. I gave it about as much explanation as I've given it just now, but people got on board with it really quickly. Like some people, they're taking both shoes off before I finished the sentence, going like, "Oh, at last I get to throw a shoe at this motherfucker." Kind of, and the clip that I found that someone took, someone gets me right, in the nads.
Yeah, almost stopped child number 2.
Yeah. I often think that explains his issues. Actually, is that the equipment is just damaged. But no, just in the array of footwear. And the thing that I ended up finding really fun was that the bit you have to hand everyone back their shoes.
Yeah.
But kind of because your adrenaline is up from not only doing the gig, but also trying to dodge these. Sometimes it'd be big looking bikers boots. And so I remember one of them parting my hair and thinking I'm going to lose a tooth doing this. But I've never thought I could be a sort of kind of catty guy that comments on shoes before, but I found that was one of the funnest bits of the show, is like slagging people off based on their footwear choices as you hand them back their shoe, and for their aim. But there's loads of fun to be had.
But I mean, I guess the roast battle win must come up there somewhere.
Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah, that was, for listeners who don't know, roast battle is like it's just where two stand-up comedians stand on stage and insult each other. Kind of, it's like outsourcing your self-deprecation to someone else. It's really fun. It's really kind of, and it can be horribly brutal. But it's actually also surprisingly warm, considering the premise. And I won that in 2019, like the first, like the UK. I say UK, it was really only London. I think like Hot Water and Liverpool do it now. I think there might be a Manchester one as well. But like Callum and the guys that run it, like it is a more established thing in the States. So I think we are in some like international like league now, with like, there's like the Tokyo branch, Austin, LA, New York, maybe another one, and they do a podcast where they go, oh, now we go to our British branch, and these guys' accents, I just can't get past it. It's like, get past it, you fools. But that was really good fun. And technically I'm UK Roast Battle Champion 2019, 2020, and 2020 and 2021, because I did not stage the competition in the last 2 years. So I got to do that to retain the crown. And I like to say it's open loads of doors for me, like not so far as I can.
The one thing I have to say though is, if anybody does go onto YouTube and searches Ben Clover roast battle, there is a clip on there from your battle against Peter Baisley.
Yeah,
where he comes on stage and pretends to be blind. And faces the wrong way. Yeah.
He's not afraid to go for the low-hanging fruit, despite being a comically gangly man. He will reach for that low-hanging fruit, which I guess is a challenge for him. He's not afraid to go after. He's not afraid to go after the disabled. He never has been.
It's one of those clips where I put it on. I carried on watching it. You know when you look at a YouTube clip and you go, oh, it's about 10 minutes long. That's fine. That's my attention span. And then you start getting in more and more into it. And all of a sudden at the end of the screen, it goes, sorry, the recording failed for the rest of it, but it was good. And you're like, oh, it was really good. What a time for that recording to fail. Because I think the genius part of that was not only the way he faced the wrong way, was your reaction to that.
Yeah, it was. He's a singular figure, Baisley. In that, like lots of people do roast battle, because it was a TV show as well, and so it had like proper big TV people do it. But in in London for a long time, it was like mainly mentally ill open micers that would do it. So it'd be this kind of quite amusing juxtaposition sometimes. But no, he's like one of the legends of roast battle, in that he often appears to have done zero preparation. He makes it very meta, very quickly, and he often has a strong gimmick. And I saw that, like, I'd observed he's very hard to beat with normal jokes. Lots of people just kind of come on with normal jokes. And then he sort of rejects the premise of the whole thing. I also thought, like, no, all right, I have to go weird as well. So it's the only time I've ever sort of used props in roast battle, I think.
The chicken outfit.
Yeah, we had a penguin later on as well. Like, I was trying to develop the running idea that he sort of like molests flightless birds. Like a strong running theme is a is a good one on roast battle. But no, he's very hard to beat. It's like he's very slippery.
Yeah.
It's like trying to kill like an octopus with a drawing pen. Like if you do have normal jokes, there need to be thousands of them, and they need to be really good.
Yeah.
Needs to be unarguable. But yeah, no, roast battle's loads of fun, and I recommend it to anyone to do.
Cool.
It's a great writing exercise as well. You get someone, you and the person you're paired up with. It could be someone that you can volunteer to go in together, but you and the person you're paired up with get given you give each other like a list of facts about yourself, and then you go away and write jokes, like 5 jokes. The idea is 5. They should be short jokes about that person, and then it's a sort of back and forth. But you're allowed to like riposte to them. You're allowed to like reply to someone else's jokes. So sometimes they get this like fantastic like tennis rally thing. Like, I mean, sometimes it's dreadful, but kind of when it at its best, there's nothing like it really.
Yeah.
Kind of, they do it at Edinburgh as well usually, and those, in front of like a really big room, and that's so much fun. Yeah.
So kind of rewinding, we've done, or you tried to recount some best moments. We've had a few. So we're going to go the opposite way now. The ones that stand out as the, oh shit, why did I do that moment?
Yeah. Things you kind of go like, the ones, you still go like, oof, oh, that was, I was comparing at Top Secret once. People don't know that Top Secret's like one of the best clubs in the country. And they have lots, because it's one of the best clubs in the country, they have super famous people come down to like do new stuff sometimes. And they're like, oh yeah, Russell Howard's going to be on. He's like the secret special guest. So I was like, oh, I'll bring on Russell Howard. And like, he's well known as being like a nice guy, like someone who's supportive of other comics and stuff. And it's like, oh shit. Well, at the beginning of a little section where I bring him on, I'll do a little bit of material, and then and be like, "Wow, that's great material! Oh, you should come and write on one of my shows." Like, yeah, I can love that, Russell. Yeah, that'd be great. That was the plan, right? But instead, it's a big packed room. But instead, just before I bring him on, before I can like do my material that I planned, I just noticed this guy to the left of me like only has one arm, and there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. But I don't know why, but I just got kind of fixated on it. Like, which is entirely my problem. It's entirely like a terrible thing to have done. And I don't know, why would you say this in front of like a room of hundreds of people, kind of like, oh, and you've only got because you're wearing a short sleeve shirt. So you've only got one arm, and I don't know what I was expecting him to say at this point. Like, yeah, I do. Or kind of like, I don't know. It was all like, I don't know why it got in my head. And it's like, yeah, I only got one arm. I was like, all right, okay. How'd that happen? Like that's gonna be a fun story. Kind of like, oh, well, funny story. And then it's just like the air is kind of leaving the room as well. Like the room that I'm supposed to have like expertly warmed up with a mixture of like warm audience interplay and like expert material. Instead, I've just made it really weird about this one guy's like disability for a minute. He goes, oh, it was just it's from childhood. It was like a childhood. I was born this way. I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Russell Howard. And it was like, this is the like, he's been going a while and must have been introduced onto the stage thousands of times. And I still think that might be maybe one of the most awkward introductions, which he did then note for a little bit, kind of going, oh, okay, this is not how I'm normally brought onto stage, is someone going, so someone like, I don't know what I was thinking, like, I wasn't thinking at all, but from his point of view, he must be like, oh, is this this compere's shtick? Is he goes around and identifies any visible disability? And it's like, I don't know what I was, or where I thought it was. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, man. I feel a warm glow of terror now, which not only reflects badly on me as a comic, it reflects pretty badly on me as a person. I don't know because I wasn't trying to find something funny with it, of which people might have expected. It was just, oh, fuck me. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit because of that. I think that's the honourable thing to do.
You can't quit. You've got Bermondsey nights coming up.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That's a good segue.
I've got
That's
commitment.
Seamless.
Yeah, you won't believe who we've got. Russell Howard. He was so enchanted by my comparing. Yeah, no. Running a gig. That's the thing people should do more of. More people should run gigs. Because people have to be the change they want to see.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So what was the change you wanted to see then when now you've created the City Runners, Bermondsey, Beer Mile, Comedy Fridays once every month with a few stars, about 13 quid to get in and a few good beers and a good crack?
It was 11 quid. But
we're down to 11 then, okay.
Yeah, I think it was always that. And I absorbed the booking fees from Eventbrite, which grow more onerous by the financial quarter. But yeah, why do that? I can't remember. Sometimes you go to other gigs and you kind of like, oh, I should and it's a good gig, and it's like, oh, I should run a good gig like this. There should be more good gigs. And then you forget how much work it is. And it's like, oh my God, this is way worse than just turning up to a gig and doing a gig.
Yeah,
it's sort of like those people who kind of they get their redundancy payment from work, and they go like, do you know what I like doing? I like sitting in a cafe. So what I should do is I should set up a cafe. It's like, running a cafe is really very different to going to a cafe. So anyway, sorry, I'm making it sound like I don't love being a promoter. It's fun. You can book like good people, and that's the thing I most enjoy. Is introducing the audience to funny people. And you're like, see, there
you go.
And hopefully they get to trust you after a while. So because you can program it to your tastes,
Yes.
Yeah, and you do get a sense, like with other people's nights, after a while, they're kind of like, this is the kind of thing they like, know. And I was always sort of inspired by people. There are some American comics who go like, you should be able to play any room, pretty much, unless it's like a character comedy or something. But or sketch or something. But kind of like so they're a crowd that like weirder stuff, or they're an older crowd of home counties pensioners, or whatever. Like whoever it is, really. Yeah, it's a good aspiration. It might not be possible. It's a good aspiration to be like, I can do it.
Yes.
For any of those crowds.
That's cool. So from trying to introduce people to comedy and stuff like that, this is one question I'm intrigued with everybody I've spoken to so far, is what's your favourite joke you've ever told, if you have one, how it came about and how it's evolved and changed over time? It's a bit of a deep one, but it's an interesting one. Doesn't even have to be best, maybe a memorable one.
It's interesting with like the jokes that people sort of know you for, rather than the ones that you think are the best.
Yeah.
So for like ages, people come up to me and go like, "Oh, hello, Ben," and they'd be like, "Oh," like that, because I had a bit that involved doing that.
Yeah.
Which I won't go into. I still do it from time to time. And I felt very traduced. But they'd be like, "Oh, no, there's much more to me than just this." But I think now I realise it. I think maybe people just like physical gestures. So I'm going to alter my practice just so as it includes more like silly physical things.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start doing kind of sex mimes where I dislodge the the banner at the back of the room and it falls on me, and because like my girlfriend pointed out, and ages ago, and I think she's right, is that like people really like it. People really like it when I'm hurt in some way.
Yeah.
So like, I think the best gig I had of last year was like, as I pulled the microphone out the stand, having now said earlier in the podcast how easy that is.
Yeah.
Managed to hit myself in the face with it. It was quite painful. And people absolutely loved that. Like, and the whole rest of the gig was a dream.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's not sustainable. I can't do that every, like, yeah. Oh, my stage persona is fuckwit, you know, or guy with inexplicably black eye. But no, I don't know, joke. It's a joke I used to do. So you asked like the joke, where the idea came from, and how it's evolved.
Yeah.
I used to do a sort of joke where I'd go like, "Oh, don't you hate it, right?" You know, it'd be like observational style, like, "Oh, don't you hate it when you toasted a nice piece of pita bread, right? And then when you open it up, the hot air inside burns your penis." Yeah, I think I used to close on that joke sometimes. And there's a Freud wrote a book about jokes. I think it's called Jokes and Their Relationship to the Unconscious or something. Okay. Right. And I've not read it. I've only read an article about it. So I'm not
somebody else's interpretation on that book.
Yeah. I like my Viennese psychoanalysis third hand, right? But he's got some theory about punchlines that they have to contain something unexpected or obscene or something about your mum, or something. But no, definitely the first two at least. And I think that does satisfy the first two in that it's like there's an unexpected penis in it.
Yeah.
Right. And where'd that joke come from? It came from my long history of having sex with bread products.
Yeah.
Kind of. I've done them all. You'd think the bagel would be the obvious one, but no. But no, I don't know. Without being too wanky about it, kind of when I do that joke, you'd see people sort of nodding along to be like, "Oh yeah," because the hot air trapped inside, but they're not expecting that penis at the end.
Yeah.
And how's that joke developed? I no longer do that joke.
It reminds me actually, last night at an open mic I was at, somebody did a kind of similar joke to that where they said, do you know that pineapple makes your semen taste different? And he said, yeah, I noticed that when I shot my load into the pineapple. That's just right. And he said melon does the same. That's just like, okay.
There you go. It's an unexpected punchline.
Yeah, it just wasn't.
Oh, hang on. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I used to have a whole little section of like, "Oh, don't you hate it, right? When you're having prison sex with someone, right? And then just at a crucial moment, you shout out someone else's number." And those used to do. This is in my first like year or something.
Yeah.
And those jokes used to do quite well for me. But like, I got a review from this competition final I was in. And the reviewer was also one of the judges.
Yeah.
And she wrote all this nice stuff, and it went like, and Clover was on course for a spot on the, what was it, to place, you know, to be in the top three. Apart from he chose to end on a selection of terrible observational material. It's like, I thought it went quite well in the room, but all right, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Jokes. You can only. Yeah. I stand by that one.
Okay. Here's one for you then. So imagine the scene, you've just smashed through the whole circuit. BBC say we want you on live at the Apollo. You're about to walk out in front of 5,000 people. What's your walk-on music?
Oh, the Steptoe and Son theme tune. No, it wouldn't be that. It would be.
That wouldn't be bad.
It would be the first 45 seconds of Chris Rock's "Bring the Pain" special. just 'cause people, people be like, "What? What's it? Is this? Who's this?" Anyway, I don't know. Music. Ooh. Witness to Fitness by Roots Maneuver as a strong place in my heart. But I need money, so I probably would try and compose my own instrumental track, and then be paid by Avalon or whoever run it for the use of the music. Yeah, good question. I know what other people said. I didn't even know you could pick your own music. I thought.
Well, I'm assuming you do. You need something that's gonna set the scene of what's about to happen.
I know I've got mates who've done it. I'll ask them if they can choose, because like people always go with like something upbeat.
Yeah.
To be like, way, there's dry ice and we're all having fun.
AC/DC, Def Leppard.
People have chosen those, have they?
Yeah. As in, people I've spoken to have said that's what they would choose.
Oh, that's what they would choose.
Yeah. Kings of Leon's been one.
Which Kings of Leon?
Is it Four Kicks? I think it's called.
Okay. Kind of AC/DC I could see, but like the thing everyone forgets about Back in Black is it starts with the hi-hat going, which is that's basically essentially 4 seconds of silence to walk onto.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know, comedy's not music. Kind of like, I don't think you should set people's expectations. It's going to be like, unless you are doing stuff with pyrotechnics and stuff, which I've not seen.
Not yet.
Much of. Although Chris Lynham used to stick a rocket up his arse and fire it out. He was doing that before that football supporter in the England game a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Kind of, I don't know if he still does that. I guess it's probably maybe a prostate issue now. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, music. Yeah, it is important. I think that's one of the main things people need to do with their nights that they run, is have someone ready to start the music as soon as that section of a show finishes. It's weird to be like, all right, and we'll see you all in 10 minutes for the next section.
Yeah.
Silence. Right? Yeah. It's just, and then no, have the music come in straight away. Maybe musical comedians will come on playing music. I don't know. I'm jealous of music.
Okay. And I guess one of the last things we do on this podcast is that every podcast needs its own little niche. So this little niche is I'm trying to set a challenge for every comedian that comes on here, and that challenge revolves around this book. It's called The Little Book of Shit Jokes by Sid Finch. And what I'm challenging the comedians to do is I want you to pick a joke from this book and use it in your set. Record it, and then post it on the socials and stuff and do the tagging and all that kind of stuff. You get to pick your own joke from it, which is absolutely fine. However, you only get to pick it by the page number.
Right.
And if your page number has been selected already, you have to pick again, because no comedian should have the same joke again.
I didn't realise when I agreed to do this that it was all an elaborate sales technique. The most labour-intensive sales technique for Sid. Are you Sid Finch?
I've tried to look for him, but I can't find him.
This is a more fictional man I've never heard of in my life. Sid Finch, yeah.
But you need a number between 5 and 95.
See, I'm not sure I can do this for you, Mark, because I've, like, joking aside, I have met Sid Finch. He's the only man I've ever physically fought. Kind of, it was outside a gig in Scunthorpe, and he came on and he said he did all this weird material about my girlfriend. I was like, you'd never met her, and it got really nasty. And I've never, like I said, I've never really been in a proper fight before, but I did end up at the end of it. I did spit in his mouth. I was just like fuck you, Sid Finch.
You sure it was a fight?
Yeah. It's just like now you've got the same mild cold I've got. So I can't endorse his work or him as a person. If I ever see him again, I'll do time. No, I have to pick a number.
Yeah.
Have people had 69?
Yeah.
That was the first one. Yeah. 96?
That's up to 95.
Oh, kind of operation is this, Mark?
If you want 96, it says if you're interested in finding out more about our books, find us on Facebook. I don't think that's going to work.
Fine. Well, if I can make that funny, I will. 22.
I actually think that one might. 22's gone. I told you I'm
44.
genuinely doing this. 44. I'm pretty sure that one is. Right.
Are these all jokes about shit, Mark, or are they...
No. They're just shit. Actually, 44 has 2 jokes on it, and one of them has already gone, so you're left with the other. So the joke I want you to say, I'm guessing it's going to be in an MC session of one of the Bermondsey nights, because I'll probably be there to film it, is, why are ghosts such bad liars? You can see right through them.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I think you've got away quite lightly with that one.
What is the rest of it like racist or something?
No, it's a nice little short, very short joke that you can chuck in and see what happens.
Okay. All right. I might do it in the new year and pass it off as a Christmas cracker joke, maybe.
It's entirely however you want to phrase it. It's fine.
All right. Well, I've come part way to Forgiving Sid now. And Forgiving Sid is actually the name of my Edinburgh show this year. It's all about how I hope he's got the wiring taken off his jaw now and all of that.
On a serious note, are you Edinburghing this year?
I put the application in a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So I applied to do 2 shows. One is my heckling masterclass show.
Okay.
There are thousands of videos online of comedian destroys heckler.
Yeah.
This is the only course in the world that you can take to be the best heckler you can be. I'll take you through the history of heckling, the theory, like the how to, when to, if to, all of that. You get a diploma at the end. There's a practical test. It's sort of like a driving test, but for cunts. Yeah, hopefully I'll do that. I've applied to a show called The Facts of Life.
Okay.
Where it's me and a fax machine on stage, and we send unsolicited life advice to one of the other 13 people still using a fax machine in 2024. The government actually turns off the fax machine network in 2025, so this will be the last time the show can be performed. And hopefully, so we'll fax them at the beginning of the show, and hopefully they'll fax something back. So yeah, that's my plan.
Interesting. It sounds like it's going to be an interesting month in August for you.
Yeah, hopefully. Like I say, kind of people. I think there should be an artifact that you get at the end of an Edinburgh show. My 2016 one.
Yeah.
This is after people had thrown the shoes. They were all given like a mask of my face they could wear out in the venue, and it was cool. You'd see sometimes you'd see people wearing it, and like my friend Joe Jacobs sent me a picture of him kind of like in with a selfie with this guy, an old guy on a mobility scooter who had one of my masks on. I was like, oh yeah. And sometimes people will come back like years later, kind of go like, oh, we've still got your mask,
excellent,
like, over a lampshade or whatever. And I think, I'm keen to give people another clutchable artifact. And I think the diploma from the heckling masterclass, which isn't a show where you can come along and heckle, it is a course that you take.
Yeah.
Right. Hopefully that'll be another one.
That sounds extremely different. I when you said the heckling masterclass, I was assuming you basically invite hecklers on.
No. Although that is one of the things that sometimes comedians will do. They'll say, well, if you think you can do better, you get up here. And then the plan is that they'll do that, and then I'll heckle them so much that they're forced to go, well, if you think you can do better, you get, and then we'll be back to square. But yeah. But no. I think I'm worried that it will attract an audience of massive arseholes. And I'm even more worried that it will then empower those arseholes, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, I'll be taking a bullet for my fellow comedians who will have fewer arseholes in their show, but at the same time, like, it's not really going to empower them to be a better heckler. It's going to be mainly about it's all a big scam, Mark. I can say this to you, but no, it is going to be a show. It's going to be about heckling, but it's going to go in some other directions. But it's very much the certificate you get is at the end only licenses you to heckle me,
Right.
not anyone else. So you can't brandish it at someone else and go like, well, Ben says it was okay. That's very much just before I get like slated on forums for other comedians going like, oh, hey, this doesn't respect the craft of.
Okay. So I think we're gonna wrap up there. But
sorry, I didn't catch that. But I have to go. I've got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I have to. Sorry, it's just part of a thing that I can't. I can never be let go. It always has to be me that chooses to go first. Sure. So sorry, is that yeah.
So before you go, where can people find you, and what's your handles and all of that lot on socials, and I'll put them in the description.
Well, yeah, lots of people are always trying to plug their socials, and like obviously I am on Ben Clover _ on Twitter, or Ben Clover Comedian on Instagram. But I'd urge people to go further. I'd say add me to your family WhatsApp groups, and I won't do anything. Most people, and then your family will forget that I'm there. But I'll make Christmas more interesting, or whatever. So 0796. Yeah, find me on WhatsApp. Add me to your family WhatsApp group, and you're like, your mum will be like, who's and like that, and then just dodge the question, and she'll forget.
Yeah,
and then I'll appear one time.
Fair enough.
If you ever need to get out of something, I can be your dead cat for kind of for getting out of a thing.
I won't be adding.
No, thanks for having me on.
No, that's cool. It's really good to have you here. I won't be adding us onto any family WhatsApp groups. I think that might be a bit iffy. I'll leave that one to you, and you can let us know how that goes.
Or just one for like your kid's school. If you've got a kid and you're like on a school WhatsApp, add me in, and I promise I'll have opinions. And people are like, who even are you? And then I'll just exit the group. It'd be like, I could be the common enemy that everyone else bonds over,
But you can find us on Open Mic Comedy Pod on Instagram, and all the W's openmiccomedypod.com. If those of you that are still listening, if you can leave us a 5-star review or a 0-star review on Spotify, podcast, Apple Podcasts, whatever you're listening to, give us a follow, do a share for a few people that you think might be interested in this. And until next time, I shall see you all again soon. And thank you very much, Ben.
Cheers.